What's up? What's up? This is Tracy, aka Doc with the Playbook. I have a new nickname actually. With my golf league, it's Lambo Ninja because I'm a black belt and have a Lambo. In high school, college, it was Trouble, or college for sure. I don't know where that came from because I'm definitely not Trouble. And then a recent new nickname someone gave me because of my background in military and federal law enforcement. Kind of a cool CV, cool resume. My agency's related to the made-up kind of agency that Jack Reacher's background comes from for the TV shows and the movie. So he called me Black Reacher, not Jack Reacher. So I thought that was kind of entertaining. Anyway, haven't done this in a while. Wanted to talk about two things really quickly. I know people's attention span is short in this day and age. First off, shout out to I'm sitting here. It's a pretty cool loaner car Mercedes of Tampa Bay gave me. Brought my wife's car in for service, and they gave me this car. And they're always trying to give you a car to sell you a new one because Mercedes makes such beautiful vehicles. But anyway, so shout out to Bob Nett and Mercedes of Tampa Bay for taking good care of my wife and I. Know that's not an endorsement. I just like to recognize good service when you get it. So I want to talk about something that's my public service announcement today. And then I also want to talk about really briefly Love Island. Yeah, don't judge me, just hang on for that. First, there's been a scam that's been going around. A friend of mine was affected by it, who will go unnamed, about a year ago. And on the same day that I actually received a phone call from allegedly the sheriff's department, another neighbor who's retired military actually received the same phone call and ended up being sucked into the scam deeper and almost acquiesced to transferring them money. But basically what the scam is they will call you or send you correspondence that sounds or seems very legitimate about missing jury duty, and at some point about you needing to report to you having warrants as a result of it and needing to report to an actual sheriff's department, Hillsborough County, to resolve the issue. But somewhere along the way, they're going to tell you to stay on the phone with them and try to get you to give them information and maybe pay some amount of money to resolve the warrants and not be arrested when you get to the sheriff's department. My friend went through the whole thing, was on the phone with him. He actually almost got to the place, but he actually got to a physical sheriff first, who then took the phone, and they ended up hanging up. But they sound very professional, very authentic. My friend is a retired Army officer. He said he was gullible in the video he made about it, but he's not gullible. He's just, in this particular scam, like I said, the people sound very legitimate. And they prey on people. Like, I'm former military. My dad is, was 26-year Vietnam veteran, former federal law enforcement. You try to be an ethical, law-abiding person. So when somebody can use those things to prey on those aspects of your personality, and that's kind of what the scam does. So basically, like I said, they try to make it seem very authentic, like you have these warrants for missing jury duty. But what I did as soon as I got the first message is I called back, left a message, said, hey, this is Tracy Smith, Dr. Smith. You left me a message about some jury duty. Not sure what that's about. I didn't miss any mail. You can give me a call back, but I don't know what you're talking about. So then I immediately called the sheriff's department, and the sheriff's department said, we don't call anybody about that kind of stuff. So and they called me back. I said, hey, former federal law enforcement. I reached out to the sheriff's department. I know this is a scam, blah, blah, blah. They hung up on me. But it does seem very authentic and very accurate. So be advised that if you get any phone calls or any correspondence in the mail about missing jury duty and being having warrants as a result of it or anything of that nature, it's a scam. And if you're not sure, this is what I tell everybody to do: go to the source, because you never know who's calling you or who's emailing you from where. But you can find the number for the sheriff's department or whatever agency is alleging that you have these issues and call directly to that agency, and they can clarify it for you. So yeah, that's definitely something that's going around. I just wanted to let everybody know. The other thing real quick, so this video is not too long and I can go on with my day. I have an acupuncture appointment. But yeah, is that Love Island. Okay, so there are all these memes out about, guys watching Love Island and it being a horrible thing and whatever, and something about you should be watching Love Island, you should go out and change your oil. Well, first off, I'm secure with my masculinity. I think Love Island is entertaining. If I do know how to change oil, but I worked hard so I don't have to change my own oil, and somebody else does it now, and it's because I'm not gonna jack up my manicure. So it is what it is. If you don't like it, you can just deal with that. Because like I said, I'm not trying to impress anybody by changing the oil. or not watching Love Island. So I've actually watched Love Island since the UK version on different networks I could get it on, or streaming services. It's been a long time in the UK. For you guys that are familiar with Love Island, the UK version was much more entertaining than the American version when it finally came out years later. The people in the UK just seem to be, I don't know, I'm not trying to bash America, but they seem to be a lot classier, a lot more established, intelligent for the most part, especially in the earlier seasons when they came on the show, versus a lot of people that come on the American version don't really have a lot in terms of having established a real life outside of social media before they come on the show. Versus there's, the UK one had a guy in there who's actually a doctor already when he came on there, and some people had other professions, and sometimes somebody, is a fisherman. But in the States, it's kind of everybody works in, an ice cream shop, or lives in their dad's garage or mom's garage or basement or something. And, and they're a waitress, or, so not bashing them, but you're already starting with a different caliber of contestant right off the bat. Attractive people nonetheless. I watch it. One of the biggest reasons my story is sticking to it, because as a doctor of psychology, former interviewer, interrogator, profiler, I think it's interesting to analyze and assess the behavior, and I like to make predictions about who's going to do well on the show, who's going to get together, who's going to stay together, and I've usually been pretty accurate. So maybe next season I'll get together with a couple of my buddies, either E and Lion, my playbook co-host, or maybe some other people. I know E, he might not admit it, but E likes Love Island as well. So but yeah, it's just an interesting show. But on this particular season, it's crazy, because I said we should have done an episode with all of us, and right after I said that, it just blew up on social media this particular season, because there's a lot of hypocrisy between the male and the female contestants, where the guys will do something and all the women bash them, whatever, and then the ladies will do the same thing, and it's like, oh girl, that's so sweet, or whatever. So that's kind of fair. I love my strong women. My wife, my sisters are strong women. My mom's an amazing woman. So if I was a female, I'd definitely be a feminist. So it's not about the gender thing. It's just about, equality and fairness on both sides. And it's kind of been crazy. So yeah, it's an interesting show. This season's been particularly interesting. So what I will say, without getting into all the nuances of the show, is there's a guy named Casey, and he's with TT. I'm Team Casey and TT. Not just because they're African Americans, brown people, but because they're just one of my favorite couples. But Casey got beat up for leaving a girl who he wasn't really into, who was never happy with him, and going with somebody who he's happy with now. So I'm Team Casey. And then there's a guy named Corbin who's from Miami. Florida's in the building. Florida's, different thing these days, but my wife's from Miami. We're in Florida now. So Corbin was not a rocket scientist, but good looking guy. He was with a good looking girl. They made a good couple, even though, they half the time they talked about how good looking each other were. But you know what? It was entertaining. He just left the show. I was pulling for him. So, but hopefully they stay together off the show. And then there's a female named Mackenzie, and she should have been voted off a long time ago. She is like the biggest gaslighting ninja Jedi I've ever seen on Love Island. And she should have been gone, because she is just hooking up with everybody and pretending she's not hooking up with anybody, or doesn't mean anything, and her feet are dirty. So clean your feet and stop gaslighting people. And if you look in her eyes, you could see it. Mackenzie, they call her Kenzie. Whitney Cummings, one of my favorite female comedians, said, don't look crazy in the eye in one of her stand-ups. If you look in Mackenzie's eyes, that is crazy. You should not look in the eye, And then the last thing, to be fair about it, there's a dude on there named Sincere. Handsome guy, hair like a Greek, mythological god or something, The dude is nice, but he's always trying new girls, but convincing them that they're the only one. It's like he goes at every girl like she's her soulmate, but he doesn't believe that, inside, but he makes them believe that. And then when he doesn't stay with them, he's shocked because everybody's beating up on him for it, or people aren't happy, or America's not happy when they vote. But it's like, dude, he seems like a great guy. It just seems like he needed a mentor, a big brother, a role model or something, a life coach. So, Sincere, do better, man. I'm pulling for you, not just on the show, in real life, And so that's what I have to say about Love Island. Hope you guys check this all out. If you watch Love Island, let me know down below. We will We will do some more Love Island content later, probably. And if you have had any issues with these scams, like I said, just be aware and contact the actual agency yourself. These people are allegedly claiming to be from, and protect yourself, because it's crazy out here these days. Love you guys. Love, peace. You know, thank you, God, for blessing us with another day. And until next time, this is Doc signing off with the Playbook.